Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear viewers, I, Major Dale H. Khan, welcome you all to our podcast StratLog. As you all know that in every episode, we invite a distinguished guest to discuss interesting topics. In continuation to that, today we have invited Brigadier General Retired Shamim Kamal sir to discuss a very interesting topic and a very contemporary topic, which is the India-Bangladesh relationship. Sir, welcome to StratLog.
Thank you very much.
Sir, to begin with, today actually we are trying to get an insight from you regarding the India-Bangladesh relationship. To give a prelude and ado, I just want to reiterate that India is a big country. It has got a big land mass, a big army, a big populace, a great democracy as they claim. However, for us, the reality is that we have 4,096 kilometers of international boundary with them, which is fifth largest in the world. Also, this boundary is the most deadliest and dangerous boundary in the world, because people tries to cross this international boundary without any trial, they face bullets. And since 2020, we have lost more than 1,500 Bangladeshi nationals in the borders. Also, India is famous for making a lot of dams and barrages against the rivers which run through, originating from India and through Bangladesh, goes to the Bay of Bengal. There is also a huge trade deficit between India and Bangladesh. Of late, we have found that after the interim government has taken over, they were sorts of merciless while unleashing a very dangerous propaganda campaign against Bangladesh. They have also ensured a lot of push-in, and another 19 lakhs are waiting, which they are preparing to push in inside Bangladesh. With this prelude, may I ask you, why India is so angry against us?
Well, thank you very much. This is very interesting a question. I would say that in other way that it's not angry. I would say that diplomatically, India is very hostile to Bangladesh, especially after the fall of the last regime on 5th August. This was basically a psychological and philosophical and diplomatical defeat, which India could not harbor, which they could not accept. They possess a vile notion in a sense that the Bangladesh would have been always continuing with their terms and conditions. And so far it is proved that after the when the then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina went on exile, and India sheltered her. Fine, there is no harm in it. But what is very much objectionable that after that, India should have been continued a good diplomatic relation with Bangladesh, which they did not do. Mm-hmm. Previously, if we scan the history, starting from liberation 1972 to till date, always when there was a regime fall, especially the Awami League regime fall, even after the assassination of Sheikh Mujib, India was very much interested to rebuild or to continue the relation. As I can cite an example, in 1975, when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was killed with his family, brutally, then the Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh was Shamur Sen. He was in India then, and he quickly rushed to Bangladesh, and he said to Bangladesh government that whatever may be the case, whatever the sadness we are engulfed, doesn't matter, but we like to continue the good relation with Bangladesh. After that, whenever the Bangladesh Nationalist Party came into power, especially in 2001, so every time their special envoys came to Bangladesh and guaranteed or expressed the desire to continue the good neighborly relation with Bangladesh. India often says that Parshi Pahle, neighbor first, but it is in their word. But actually, what we have seen in the last 54 years, all the diplomatic relations with Bangladesh, the agreements, the pact, or the other memorandums, it always favored India. So when there is an agreement between India and Bangladesh, it is 90% goes in favor of India and 10% for Bangladesh. So that is how they continue. So India was, used to have a Bangladesh of this kind. So this is a sharp fall which they could not accept. That's why this is the exceptional. This is an exceptional time when I found that it's media, government, political parties, then normal Indians, normal citizens, everybody collectively stood against Bangladesh. And if I can tell, if I would say that India is other than military, in every field they declared war against Bangladesh. So just immediate after the fall of the last regime, they stopped providing visa for all the Bangladeshis, any kind. You know that a good number of Bangladeshis are highly dependent, blindly dependent on Indian treatment or medical system, medical arrangements. So these people, they were not given visa. No visa was given. Then second issue, they started with, the trade. They stopped the trade, especially the land ports. Almost 8, they closed 8 out of 12 land ports. And then there were, the trouble in the borders. The Bangladesh border is one of the longest border of the world, and this border is always porous. There are certain agreement and MOUs between Bangladesh and India how the border management will be done. So showing thumb to those MOUs and agreement. So unilaterally, they started erecting the fences, and they had been violating all the rules and regulations of making this border fencing and all this. So then they stopped, they canceled the transshipment, and finally, they are trying with the pushing. So all these are the nexus and the ill motives, which indicates that India wants to punish Bangladesh once for all.
Sir, thank you, sir. To be very frank, sir, since independence in 1947, India has witnessed at least several military defeats from China and Pakistan. Especially in 1947-48, they lost part of Kashmir as Azad Kashmir and taken by Pakistan. And again, in 1962, they lost Aksai Chin to China, and also part of Arunachal, which is the Chinese, they call it Southern Tibet. So facing those defeats, actually India was not, I should say, afraid to continue her territorial expansion. It continued capturing Hyderabad through Operation Polo. It suppressed the Sheikhs through Operation Blue Star. They have also managed to capture and annex Sikkim. So it is said that it is more than 2 lakhs square kilometers they have gained over the period of time. So at this scenario, the dangerous border we have right now with India, and their ministers, especially in Tripura, the Home Minister of Tripura was claiming that no verification required. Anybody missing any Aadhaar card will be treated as Bangladeshi, and they will be all sent to Bangladesh. And the recent BGB report reveals that they are finding a lot of people pushed inside Bangladesh having due Aadhaar card also. So at this scenario, sir, how do you see this genesis of pushing inside Bangladesh by Indian hegemony, and what actually we can do to prevent ourselves from becoming the garbage bin of South Asia?
Okay, I think your question has got two parts. First of all, the different kind of wars, India, Pakistan, India, China. So, by and large, there are major wars in, if we consider 1965, 71, and 1962. So, all these wars, especially, the war is, 1971 is our liberation war. So, India was allied force here and they own. We own and they were part of us all. So, I explained in that way. 1965 war was almost, the India launched venture inside Pakistan. And so these wars are not settled that who lost and who liberated. And rest apart the other wars, other wars like Kargil war, even the last conflict. So these are not a full-blown war actually. And 1962 Indo-China war, that was a war, and there India got a very tough lesson from China. And so India initially underestimated China's strength. So China has given such a lesson that in future never India will get a chance with China. This is one. Again, the Pakistan so far, especially after 1948, Pakistan primarily launched the proxy war against India, especially Kashmir and all these areas. I don't want to go back to the history of Hari Singh and all this, how it happened. So, last year battle, what happened, there is also no result as a neutral point of view if we talk about. But what are the identical things are that India targeted deep inside Pakistan territory. And Pakistan also had an edge on Indian superior aircraft like Rafale and all this. So, but still there is no result. But the most serious thing are coming up. Prior to this conflict between Pakistan and India, there are two major things that are very striking. First of all, India held up or held in abeyance the Indus Water Treaty. That's very dangerous. And as a countermeasure, Pakistan also, canceled the Simla Pact. So these are the two pillars on which India-Pakistan relation had been standing so far. So both the pillars are destroyed. Now, you see that after stopping the normal flow, whatever in the Water Treaty stipulated, India is not supplying. India doesn't want to continue with this Indus Water Treaty, and now the water flow is reduced by 30%. Pakistan's agriculture, 80% dependent on Indus and its tributaries. That's a very dangerous option. So when they have scaled down by 30%, so Pakistan has got no other option to go for a war. So to my understanding, as a student of military studies, I find that a conflict is again inevitable between India and Pakistan.
Then what will happen to us? Because our Ganges Treaty is going to be
that's the issue. That's the issue. You see, stopping water is an act of war. What India is doing now, and in case of Bangladesh, we have 200 rivers, international rivers. Okay, if we even consider the 54 major rivers, because there are many rivers in Bangladesh. Say 5 rivers are having same name. So Bangladesh, we have only 2 rivers only agreement we have. The Ganges Water Treaty, another is Feni River Treaty. Okay, so India in fact bluffed Bangladesh. India deprived Bangladesh from its due share by making only one river, Ganges Water Treaty, which is going to be terminated in 12 December 2026. So you see that if you're keeping leaving aside 52 rivers minimum, if you make agreement of one river, that doesn't make any sense. So this is called total deprivation. So this is very deliberately done, and well, if sometimes someday Bangladesh raises this issue, and sometimes some courageous leadership comes in Bangladesh, definitely there has to be some solution. Otherwise, this is an injustice India is doing since our liberation war. So that is going to be a serious consequence in future.
Speaking regarding the terrorism, as you know, sir, this particular word and the very definition is evolving, and big things are happening because of this. Like counterterrorism is a mandate based on which a lot of political and I should say diplomatic maneuver also happens in the world. India, it is claimed that the suicidal attack is invented by India, where their Prime Minister, Srimati Indira Gandhi, was shot, and later on, again Rajiv Gandhi was a victim of this suicidal attack. And there are evidences where it is evident to say that it was RAW who actually trained these people for these sorts of suicidal attack. And very interestingly, people think that it is actually Al-Qaeda or someone started. But history says that the first incident happened actually by the Tamil against India. And another interesting fact is that this is the only precedence where the same entity killed two head of the state. One is Premadasa, another is Rajiv Gandhi. So that India again, under BJP, with their RSS and all other motivation, is trying to promote Hindutva throughout the world. And very recently we have seen that they have killed a Niger, a Canadian citizen in British Columbia. We have also seen that they were accused of an attempt to murder of a US citizen. In Australia also there is some incident. So the famous Five Eyes, they have limited their intelligence sharing with Indian RAW recently. So these sorts of aggressive and fundamental behavior makes Indian hegemony really dangerous to other neighbors. As you said, they often try to claim that neighbor first. But as a neighbor, because of these sorts of terrorism developing in India, let me also add that very ridiculous that they often find some mandir under any of the new mosque. And the minority suppression happening in India, especially against the Muslim entity living there, is one of the most noticeable minority suppression in the world right now. So Bangladesh being a country besides such a neighbor, should we be terrified?
I don't think there is a reason of being terrified for Bangladesh. And the issues you brought out, like assassination of Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. So there were the questions of, the independent states of Khalistan. Mm-hmm. If you remember, Indira Gandhi was shot dead by Bento Singh, one of his bodyguards. And
after Operation Blue Star.
Yeah, he was sick. And again, Rajiv Gandhi was killed by Tamil. So that is the LTT was very strong in Sri Lanka, and Khalistan movement was very, very prominent, very active at that time. So these are the reasons. You see, these are Muhammad Ali Jinnah said one thing: India actually is not a state; it's a combination of many races, many tribes, or many religions. So India is a heterogeneous religion, tribe, and all this. So these will be the problem. India will severely suffer if they remove the secularity from their constitution or from their approach. You see, after coming BJP into power, so India they threw off the secularism in the Indian Ocean. So you see, everywhere there is a scope of exploring the Hinduism. Every country they find a lot of mineral resources under the earth, and they find only the
Temples under the mosque.
Under that they get only temples, and they desire to make temple over mosque and everywhere. So this is really very this attitude towards the different religion, especially the Muslims, is very much poisonous for India, and it will trigger the breaking of India. You see, the India is the second largest Muslim country of the world. By 2050, this is going to be the largest Muslim country in the world. So you can just about in per day, India, on an average, there are 4 riots in India per day. So can you imagine how many riots takes place in it? The cleansing, the scale of cleansing is so much in India, nowhere in the world happens. So despite all these issues, when India takes the stance for the RSO or the Gerua dress, so that speaks something different India. This is not the India which looked for the Gandhi, even Nehru or Patel. Okay, so this is totally religious Hinduism, India. So this is dangerous. You see what's happening in the Manipur, the Meiteis and what you said, that KNF cookies. So these, you see, all the 7 sisters, they are the tribals. They are so everywhere there's a sense of deprivation. So this is going to be, there is a psychological threat, geographical threat, chicken neck, and all these, and still that, you see, so long there is there is problem in Manipur. Even today, the Indian Prime Minister did not visit Manipur. And there is another proposition to making a Christian state in the all these 7 sister areas. That is the Jo area. It is almost 2 lakh square kilometer area, where the Chin, then Shan, and Indian Mizoram, because these are the provinces, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Assam, and all this. There's a huge Christian percentage people are living. So that is also another connotation India has to fight. So India, you see, they are fighting religiously, they are fighting geographically, they are fighting with their 2 nuclear threat. So India had only good friend was Bangladesh. So India is also very much, and they are showing a very negative approach or attitude to Bangladesh and shutting down the doors of bilateral relation one after another. So this is, somehow, hanging the relation on a small, thin, just thread. So if it is cut off, then everything is gone, something like that. And they had been waiting for a political government to come into power. So it's not that. So one thing is very clear, that so far India, what attitude they have shown, as you introduce the topic in such a way, there's big country, big nation. If they would have been, India would have a big heart, that would have been very much in consonance to their other elements, that could have been very finest thing in India. So, a state, a country or a state has got 4 stages to develop. First is athlete stage, where all the citizens has to work like athlete. Then warrior stage, where you have to work like a soldier, sometimes race, sometimes run, sometimes crawl. And third stage is the big brother stage, where you look after your neighbors and all this. So that's the stage India stopped. They could not reach to that stage. I'm not talking about the last stage, which is called reconciliation or realization stage, where you think about the no, it's not that superpower. It's a philosophy that world citizenship, humanity, human rights. So these are the things. So Japan is a country, Singapore is a country, looks for this country. So India is stuck up in a second stage.
Big brother stage.
They could not. They have become big brother. Actually, big brother who is very much dangerous to younger brother. So that is the current attitude. So India, you see, from the liberation, it is. The Indian politicians, the first thing they have to go through the Arthashastra by Kautilya. And Kautilya said they keep the neighbors in disturbance. And enemy is your friend. So these are the, definitely these are very much, effective. But India never can come back from the Kautilya policy. Their diplomatic area is known as Kautilapuri.
Exactly.
Chanakkapuri, something like that. So, these are the issues. India had I.K. Gujral, Sundarji Doctrine, a lot of good, beautiful things came out. But again, they go back to the Kautilya policy. So in Kautilya policy, you see, all the neighbors of India is not India's friend. So only Bangladesh was good friend, because Bangladesh is also the biggest market for India, because Bangladesh, there's a very condensed market, and you understand, you just go to the street, you find all the tracks and automobiles, many things, bikes, and ever from India. So this is a big market. So India, I don't think that they will lose this. And I'm sure the last week they have got back the realization there is no gain to discard or belittle Bangladesh. So it is better to develop this relation so that both the countries in future can stay together in a win-win understanding.
Fantastic. We also want that things improves, but speaking the reality is that if you see the trade deficit between India and Bangladesh, and also the big brother has showed its hegemony and at times tried to coerce us, and immediately after the fall of Sheikh Hasina's regime, it was provocative. I'm sure everyone has noticed the media propaganda launched against the interim government. The chief of army staff claiming that they are not going to talk with the interim government unless there is an elected government coming in place. And to be very specific, they have tried to reduce the trade and commerce with us, initially by cancelling the transshipment, later on making non-tariff barrier on the yarn supply in Bangladesh. So do you find there is undue and I should say artificial dependency they wanted to create so that we start believe as beef eaters that only beef can be found if Indians are kind enough to send their cows in Bangladesh? As onion eaters, if only they sell onion to us, then we will be able to eat onions. So from that point of view, sir, I want your view and insight that is it really like that we have a total dependency on Indian trade and commerce, and without that we cannot survive?
The flat answer is no, because in the last 10 months, almost everything stopped from India. The trade balance, the India, we have almost, they export 17 to 18 billion dollars, and we export 2 to 3 billion dollars in between. So when India stopped, the trade business, so we went to Pakistan and other countries, and China is always there to get the things. So last 10 months experience says that there will be some there will be difficulties for time being, but this is not a permanent difficulties. We can weigh out. As I very fondly always say about Ryan Holiday's famous book, "Obstacle is the way." Okay. So where is the obstacle? There is a way. If there is no obstacle, there cannot be different ways. So secondly, where the obstacle is steeper, higher, there are opportunities also more higher and promising. So you see, just I give you the two examples. this is not only India's fault. This is also our statesman's fault, our political party's fault. Our political parties, they have not shown any interest other than India anywhere. Tell me, one government who has looked, they have only said, did any government try it for ASEAN? Did any government try it for Belt and Road Initiative? Did any government try to develop relation with Myanmar? Myanmar is another neighbor. Nobody looked into it. So this is Bangladeshi people, statesmen, the politicians and the statesmen who are in power so far. They are blind, one-eyed, blinded totally. So these are the issues. You see, the the most important issue is that if you give somebody the soft ground, if you allow somebody to have their business in your market, why not? So India has just exploded. They have taken disadvantage. I just gave two examples. In 2015, Rajnath Singh was the, Home Minister, and he declared that India will not export any cow to Bangladesh. So 2016-17, Bangladeshis, they had some difficulties because without Indian beef cows, we were really facing
Especially during the Eid.
Yeah, especially Eid. So in 2018, the surplus, cow production in Bangladesh is surplus. Each and every year, India produces 1 crore 25 lakhs cows, of which 25 lakhs to 30 lakhs cows exported to Bangladesh.
Okay.
So when they stopped it, each and every year, India had to count 31,000 crore rupee loss. The report came in India Today. So you see, India had a mind that stopping this to Bangladesh, they will enter into world beef market. There they could not cope up with Brazil.
Okay.
So they had to count this. Again, in this time, when they stopped our shipment, transshipment, so what Bangladesh did, very smartly, I must say, Bangladesh went to Maldives. And Maldives, it is going by ship, and then they are using the aircrafts like Qatar Air, Turkish Air, Etihad, Aeroflot, so on. There are many aircrafts are doing this business. So this entire business is shifted from India to Maldives. Now, concern is that Globe Mint, one of the largest cargo company of India, they have expressed their concern to Indian government because the revenue has decreased 4.13% because of this Bangladesh ready-made garments. And ready-made garments, it is considered as a perishable item, because if the order is cancelled or other issues happens, then it's a huge
Also,
loss.
they have a lot of investment in Bangladesh, and around 26 lakhs of
have.
their national are working in Bangladesh, as said by the advisor, one of our advisor.
I don't know the exact figure how many Indians are working here, but one thing I'm sure, they don't pay tax for this.
Oh.
So this is an important issue. Now, you see, the pushing is going on. So there, Bangladesh must go for the countermeasures. Countermeasures like Bangladesh can go to the International Court of Justice. Okay, then Bangladesh can expel all these illegal Indians who don't pay tax, or compel them to pay the tax for their job here. So these are the hard countermeasures Bangladesh has to go for. So in fine, what I can say that what India is trying to stop, they could not put Bangladesh in trouble, and rather Bangladesh made its way out. So this is a good lesson for them. Now see, just last week they have decided, their foreign ministry, external affairs, parliament standing committee, they have decided they are ready to sit with Bangladesh to discuss all these odds and India wants to make the negotiations. So that's a good sign coming up at the end of the day.
So thank you very much. With the intervention of Mr. Shashi Tharoor and Mr. Menon, seems that there is a ray of hope at the end of the tunnel. However, sir, politically speaking, after 5th of August, keeping Sheikh Hasina in the living room of New Delhi and harboring thousands of Awami League supporters and leaders in Indian towns like Calcutta and others, whereas depriving our patients, depriving of visas to go there and take treatment. How far do you believe that this diplomacy and politics is going to help improving the relationship between us? Did they have any other alternatives?
Oh, thank you very much. This is indeed a very excellent question, I must say. Now, there are two things here. First of all, that and they have harbored the deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. There is no harm in it, but problem was there, the attitude the India has shown after harboring her. Many a times Bangladesh government, interim government, requested India that
Keep her silent.
It should keep her silent. But she did not, and the government did not. Indian government did not show much interest in it. Secondly, it was proved that the relation so far India maintained with Bangladesh, it was basically based on a family or the government or Awami League based relation, which is not correct. But democratically, they had been telling, especially the Prime Minister was saying that Narendra Modi, that is a people-to-people relation, country-to-country relation, which is not. Secondly, nobody, no Bangladeshi has blamed India for harboring her there because, if this would not have been managed on 5th of August, and the history could have been one of the dirtiest or the ugliest history of Bangladesh. So that is one part. Another part is that India should have been. India is a democratic country, mature democratic country. I must say India should have been told that whatever the case, like previous regime changes, as India said, that whatever the case, we want to continue the relation people to people, country to country. It should go hand and gloves, like something like that. And they always take credit of the 1971. They were allied force. They helped us. This is everything fine. So this should have been another chance for India to say that, whenever Bangladesh is in trouble, we as a neighboring country, big country, we are beside you. And that should have been the right approach. But instead of that, India has gone for a different way, and then shutting down one after another, all the relations doors. So that made Bangladesh-India relation in a very delicate position. As you said, that two of the very prominent personalities, Mr. Menon and Shashi Tharoor, they are the members of External Affairs Standing Committee, Parliamentary Standing Committee. Last week, they reviewed and they could make understand the government as the spokesman of External Affairs Ministry. Janotar Dol has said that India is ready to sit with Bangladesh in a conducive environment to discuss all these odds and all these issues. So that that denotes that India got back its sense, and I think this is the only way India can improve relation with Bangladesh. What damage they can do to Bangladesh, they have already done. So Bangladesh could withstand with the difficulties.
Okay.
So if they impose more difficulties, Bangladesh will be more firm in its stance. So there are a lot of challenges. One of the most important challenges coming up is the Ganges Water Treaty, which is going to be terminated in 12 December 2026. So now India is in trouble. As I have heard from the open sources, India is pleading or expecting or requesting Bangladesh for 12 to 15 years agreement. So that's the urge. Now, this is the time. Not only it's an interim government, even the political parties coming into power next time. It's a serious issue. If the next political party is going to compromise with this, the similar kind of agreement they have to make, they'll be doomed. Because by this time, Bangladeshi people are aware of how far we are deprived from our right shares, new shares. That is very naked, and many people are very serious and careful about this. So future government should be very careful in stepping into these issues. So with these issues, I think this is one of the sore point where and last 10 months, India made a self conclusion that with this kind of attitude to Bangladesh, we cannot win. We cannot be benefited.
It seems they need to work a lot then.
Because they have to. Yes. Now issue is that, you see, Bangladesh will come up. Bangladesh will come up, especially my political party, Janotar Dol. If it gets a chance to say it in the parliament, we'll raise this issue. Each and every issue will go point by point.
And more so, since very recently, Dr. Yunus requested China to somewhat, take control of inland water of Bangladesh for next 50 years. So I think next year, the Ganges Treaty solution is going to be really, really very interesting to witness. However, sir, another aspect of our bilateral relationship, which was, of course, got bittered and to some extent bettered by a lot of one-sided deals like Adani deal. Then India, to some extent, wanted to treat Bangladesh as a mere transit station between their mainland India to Seven Sisters, which they predicted as an alternative to the chicken neck because of their geographic vulnerability. But what has really hurt us all the time is that the Rohingya crisis is a crisis for what we are suffering a lot. First, I will ask you a question: is that how Bangladesh could possibly avoid this source of refugee crisis in Bangladesh? And with continuation to that, I am also requesting you to put some light on the feasibility of having a triple entity between China, Bangladesh, and Pakistan to counter Indian hegemony.
You want to mean that Rohingya repatriation and how much support we'll
No,
get from?
at the first place, why Myanmar was dare enough to send this Rohingya in Bangladesh?
Again, this is a very interesting question. If I want to mean a single answer to that, we lack serious deterrence, military deterrence,
Okay.
for which encouraged Myanmar to push in 1.2 million Rohingya. You know, the Rohingya diaspora in all over the world, I think it is 1.4 million or 1.5 million in Bangladesh, and rest of the world has got 0.4 or 5 or 6. So 70% Rohingyas are now in Bangladesh. Now what is their status?
Stateless?
They are stateless. So they are not refugee, they are not IDP. For refugee, there is an UNHCR, and for IDPs, there is an international organization, IOM. But for stateless, there is no organization in the world. Refugee and IDPs, they have a hope of going back to their own root or to their resident areas. But stateless has got no hope. In the world,
And making the scenario worse, even Rohingyas in India, they are also now Indians pushing inside Bangladesh.
yeah, that's a different crime. I must say that the crime is done by India. What I'm talking about, that in the world history, there is no country, there is no stateless. They have gone back to their homeland.
Oh.
Even if we talk about the Philistines, there was 9.7 million Philistines became stateless, and they went to Jordan. And Jordan gave them the citizenship. That's a different issue. But you cannot.
So they never came
a
back.
single incident where the stateless have gone back their route. Now the place where they are evicted, that is now economic zone of.
Sir, we are at the almost at the fag end of our discussion, and we are eagerly waiting to get your insight regarding the military facet of this entire bilateral relation thing. So, if I try to construct my premise of the question, if I want to say like that it will be the most stupidity for any nation to believe that no one is going to attack, no one is going to harm. Internationally and historically, it is always believed that the neighbor with whom the international border is shared is the potential enemy. So, from that point of view, as a fair caution, you have always said to take due military preparation for Bangladesh to remain as a deterrent force in the region, and of course against India and Myanmar. So, what do you really mean by becoming a deterrent force? And also, if you please highlight what the lessons we should draw from the fiat we have right now diplomatically against India.
Thank you very much. That is, in fact, a very pertinent and prudent question, I must say. You see, not having a military for its own defense to safeguard its sovereignty and territorial integrity, thinking this kind of understanding is a vile notion, is a cardinal military sin. We can tell it. So that option is gone. So every country has to prepare for its defense, no doubt in it. 3 countries in the world are having the similar geopolitical location: Israel, Singapore, and Bangladesh. Look at Singapore and look at Israel, how they are handling this. This is enormous, tremendously potentially small country, but they are fighting their very powerful neighbors and odds, no doubt in it. In comparison to these countries, Singapore and Israel, where we are, that gives a very uncanny, that is a very, very feeble understanding or a feeble stance that we have. So first of all, this is well nigh impossible to defend the country without a credible military. So in that, as you have seen, you see the last battle, conflict between Israel and Iran. What I am watching for the last 1 week or so, that all the Arab countries, they are taking lessons and they are trying to build up their military as per their need. Egypt is pursuing for superior aircraft like F-35. Iran is going for Chinese Jet-10C, which is 4.5 generation aircraft. And they had to deal with Russia as the Russia is delaying to supply their Su-35, I think. So that's why they have shifted, because Iran is thinking that again in the next week, there is also the turmoil is going on. Iran has already said its proposition. The United States and other Western countries, especially United States, has warned Iran if they don't go for the negotiation and they don't sit for the discussion within next 3 weeks or so, again Iran may have faced similar consequences. On the contrary, Iran has warned all the members of the International Atomic Energy
To leave
watchdog
country.
to leave the country within 48 hours or so. So you see, Iran is thinking that they need this air power even in the next week. So let alone Iran or Israel, why Egypt is rushing very quickly to procure this kind of, because they understand that maybe tomorrow Egypt is going to the target of Israel. So this is the kind of understanding or the takeaways of Israel-Iran war. But we have seen the Pakistan-India conflict, then Iran-Israel conflict. What is our lesson? What is our takeaways?
Yes.
So that's the very dangerous option where we are. I'm really concerned and surprised that nobody is paying heed to this understanding that we must have a credible military which can face our enemy or superior odds. Now, you see, if you talk about that small country, poor, average economy, mediocre economy, those are not the questions. Look at the case of Singapore, a very small country, and Singapore is having much bigger neighbors like Malaysia and Indonesia. So they are facing, you see, and Singapore is planning with the perceived enemy. Means that if the toughest enemy, the toughest power attack Singapore, how they will manage it. So they're way with this. So we have a definite threat. We have our definite enemies, no doubt in it. So keeping these definite issues, we are not doing anything. So very plain, very simply, I want to mean one thing, that we have to develop our deterrence. That is military deterrence. And deterrence. I'm not meaning that deterrence has to be always military. It may be the economic deterrence, cultural deterrence, diplomatic deterrence, and what. Means that deterrence is a course of action, adoption of which will abstain your enemy to take its own course of action. That means if you do this, I'm going for this. So this is the kind of things. And deterrence has got three characteristics. First of all, it has to be credible. When you box your enemy, that should give your enemy some pain. That it should be potential. That means that can kill you. That can cause your death. So this is second one. Third one is communication. That is very important. You have to communicate. Your enemy is doing something. You are unable to reply anything, right? Say you go for the blockade, you go for the trade sanctions, you go for any military actions, grab actions. If you do this, like somewhere there are some military actions, you grab a piece of land. If you don't lead this, I'm not going to lead this. So this is the kind of deterrence we have to. So for this, simply, it's very difficult to understand for the layman. What I can tell for Bangladesh, we are seriously lacking behind in our air defense. So we don't have that kind of aircraft, modern aircraft, fifth generation aircraft, and the air defense system like S-300, S-400, even S-400, 500 is coming up. Then simply that we must have one squadron of fifth generation aircraft. Multi-role combat aircraft. That means if your enemy knows that you can do something potential to him or her, then they will abstain from their vile notion or vile design. So that's very important. This is a serious sector. We should think about. The beautiful cantonments will not fight. The ships will not. Other establishments will not fight. It will fight your arms and armaments and munitions. Even we should go for, you see the missile, what drone and missile, Iran has shown it. They broke the myth of Iron Dome. Even Israelis, they did not think of that Iran has got this kind of capability. So in retaliation, Iran has thrown hundreds of thousands of missiles, drones, and all this. So what we have, that if we take a brief stock of our capability, that gives a very, very blink and very unhappy, or this is not good enough to feel secured. So that's a very important issue. At the important ground, we should think about build up our military, especially on the deterrence capability.
Sir, thank you very much. We are going to end the question definitely with the slogan you have as the chairman of Janotar Dol is that we do politics for the next generation. So, having understood the threats and hazards we have, and the very potent risk analysis for Bangladesh, militarily, of course, it is often found that there is a dearth in the young people and in their psyche. For the last 15 years or so, it was indirectly promoted that we are never going to be attacked. So the fighting age in the youth of our country is missing. So what you will tell for them as the last word and concluding remark?
So this is very important, that how a nation prepares for its defense or for its future. And there, from my political party, Janotar Dol, what we are preaching that we are serious. We are thinking about our next generation. So if you want to secure a generation, the first and foremost thing, we have to look into the moral education. That's a very important issue to make a mindset that it's my country. I have to defend it, and whatever I have, by all means, I have to defend. So this is very important. Secondly, you have to be very careful about the other military issues. So as I said about deterrence and all this, these are also integrated issues because the young lot they don't understand
Right.
what is the military requirement, what is deterrence, what is your enemy. They don't understand much, but they understand. They should be given the sense of the patriotism, how to love your country, what you should do for the country, what country has given to you that is immaterial. You should give whatever you have to the countries. So these are the basic lessons, and also and husbanding with this the moral education, obeying the seniors, helping the poor, and making somebody capable for some skill jobs and something like that. So these are the kind of educations we have to instill to the children. So gradually they will become the next generation of ours, and they can secure our future.
Sir, may we know the recent development in your political affairs? We have learned that there are 1,000 Palestinian children. They are going to be taken care of by an NGO in Bangladesh, and you are very closely helping them to make this dream job happen. Question is why we are doing so, and how this makes a change.
Well, thank you very much. You must have noticed that our first political program was national security and basic military training.
Of course.
So what we have thought that we will take some steps or some programs which are not taken by any one of the political parties of Bangladesh. That's what we told, that we are trying to bring entrepreneurship in politics. Entrepreneurship, by definition, it is something which is not done before anyone. So being a political party, paradoxically, our first program was basic military training and national security. The second issue we picked up that we are working with a foundation, Al Shamsul Haq Foundation, which is already working in Gaza and Palestine. So we are trying to bring 1,000 orphans from Gaza who lost their parents. So they will be housed, they will be nurtured, they will be taking care throughout in Chattogram. We have got the accommodation, we have got fund, we have got everything for him. Actually, the foundation is doing this. What we're trying to do, we are trying to ease up this issue at government level. So we had a meeting with foreign advisor. Then we are trying to negotiate this issue with the ambassador of Palestine, and we are working, making our station in Egypt. And you must have marked that. Meanwhile, our Janotar Dol is participating, distributing breads to the very hungry Palestinians in Gaza. And one bread is costing almost $1.25. So, Alhamdulillah, we don't find any dearth of money. We don't find any dearth of initiative or support. We are getting support all out, everywhere, from the government, from the Palestinian Authority, from everywhere. So I think this is something very much humanic and something very specialized thing. Marching for Gaza, the hundreds and thousands people moved. That is something, and bringing this orphan to Bangladesh and nurturing them. So this is something very different. And we think we are so happy, Alhamdulillah, that we are.
আজকের মতো এখানেই শেষ করছি। অতি সত্বর আরো কোনো ইন্টারেস্টিং টপিক নিয়ে আবার আমরা হাজির হব আপনাদের সাথে। অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। আসসালামু আলাইকুম।